I have to reinstall Twitch on my phone so I can see chat. Today I found a picture of a moon gate, and if you don't know what that is, I really suggest Googling it. They're just like round gates that kind of lead to nowhere or in the middle of a path or something. And yeah, I don't know. They're like kind of mystical looking kind of thing. And so I wanted to try one. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know how successful I'm going to be. I honestly have no idea. But we're going to find out. And worst case, it's a learning experience. Because if you don't fail, you don't learn. So let's get ready to fail, shall we? And again, I'll say if you hear loud bangs at any point, we have the world's longest roof replacement still underway. I don't know if it's the longest, but it kind of feels like it. So if you hear banging, that's what it's from. And then the road's construction for the new road that they're building, it's close, but it's not actually that. It's like not right behind my property or whatever. But it's close enough that the trucks wake us up every morning. They're in full swing as well. So it's a nice quiet day here. All right. I wish I could show you a picture of what this is or will be. Do I have all my lights on? I do. Why does it seem like it's weird? Okay, that's better. Wish I could show you a picture, but I'm gonna do a little sketch. So maybe that'll give you an idea. But I need to pick brushes. So I'm gonna go with the big boy. And this is going to be pretty loose, so there's not going to be that many details. And I think there's my little hello. Oh, yeah. So it won't actually be too bad at all. It'll be pretty loose, or I'm going to aim for it to be pretty loose. Let's see. I think that's about it. I'm running out of places to put things. So put those on my stand, and let's get to sketching. So I'm looking at a picture I just found on Google Images that I'm gonna kind of try and base this on. And so maybe I should do it tall. Actually, I should do a tall one. I think that might actually look better. So there's like the foreground here, right? Just grass. There's like a kind of bush that comes like that's in the foreground that comes around there. There's another kind of tree, but the main focus is there's like this path, right? That comes through, and it's a dirt path, and then there's this circle gate, and I can't draw a circle at all, but I can fix that. Let me just get rid of this. it doesn't have to be perfect, but I would like the center to be as perfect as possible. So I'm going to use this, and that's about right. There we go. And then it's all made up of rocks, right? All different kind of like long, short rocks that kind of come up and make this like base. And there's like a base here. And it's all just rocks, right? Just long. So like that. And then there's all like trees in the background. This is like a big like forests. Like you can't tell that there's individual trees. Here you can tell. And then in the background here, there's all like really light trees in the far background. So that's pretty much what we're going to try today. And I still can't draw, so, you know, I haven't taken that sketching class yet. So I'm kind of still clueless, but I'm just going to lightly erase the sketches so that I have like an idea, but there's not really dark pencil lines. And then we're going to go on from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is the background. And I think I'm going to kind of do it in... Let me get some paints prepped. I'm going to be using a lot of greens. So I'm going to wet every single green I have. And there's some flowers on some of the bushes. And I'm going to prep the grays, the browns. I'm going to use that cobalt violet that was new. And I will also do indigo, browns. I want to make like a light gray, kind of like a bluish gray, right? For the background. So I'll be using this palette a lot. It might actually even be cleaning it out. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to merge all of these greens on this palette, on this mixing palette together. And, oh, I guess we need some blues too, right? I think I'm going to go with cerulean because it, maybe I'll go with some lunar blue too. And that's really about it. There's some white flowers, but I can do that with gouache or something after. So, and that's the plan. So let me get all of this wet down, and we're just going to kind of do the background first. I want this to be like really well moistened and well, because I want to run the paint down to kind of create some of those shapes in the background, so I don't have to focus on creating all of them. So you'll get the idea of trees in the background instead of lots of trees. But I want a lot of water on this because I want the paint to run. Okay, and now I'm gonna take some lunar blue really light wash with lots of dog hair. Shocking, huh? And I don't know what that is, but I'll just throw a little bit of it in there. So then I'm going to make trees. I'm going to make trees. I'm just going to let the paint move and kind of create its own versions of trees. And then it can get a little bit thicker right up behind here. Because these are like the stems, and then this will be, it'll be mostly covered anyway, but just gonna let that sit there for a minute. I'm gonna clean up all of the water that I just dumped on my desk. I'm just gonna let that dry a little bit. And in the meantime, I forgot to get towels. So you'd be so proud of me too. I actually remembered to bring a pretzel in with me. So when I get starving, it's lunchtime, and I did not eat because I took the kid food shopping, which was a big mistake as always, but took him food shopping today, and I spent a lot of money. Right now he's building a Lego set, so I can do this. So, all right, now that that is done, I'm going to come back in and I'm going to add just a really not that dark, really light blue wash. Blue. I'm just going to drop it in kind of in between. Intersperse it a bit. And then I'm also going to take I'm going to take my green gold and I'm going to wash that. Really light. And I'm just going to come in on the bottom here. And this is actually more dry now, so it's not going to move so much, which is fine. So I just want to give like, there is greenery behind there. You know, because you can see in the background there's always like green bushes, trees, grass, whatever. But I want you to see the trees, and can actually do a little bit more blue too in some of these spaces. This is just the background, so I'm going to dry it, and then it will be, oh, we can start building on top of it. So, one second. All right, so now I want to start with the gray. I want to kind of build this out, and it's going to be a little bit darker than what we used before. And I'm not exactly sure what color. I need to move this palette, I think. Move stuff over. I kind of want a neutral gray, I think, but maybe not. Actually, I think I'm gonna take some indigo. I'll just put it in here. This is far, far darker than I'm going to use, but I will use it later. This is kind of like a violety, gray, black kind of color. But we're going to add some water, and that will be like the base of the I'm going to really dilute that a lot. Looks more blue here, actually, which is still fine, but it's nice and light. So I'm just going to start building the inside. So right where I've had that line, and it's going to be made out of rock, right? So it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to go and just start kind of creating some of these rock shapes, right? And there's like kind of taller ones in the center here. Some in just kind of randomly placed. So I'm using like the idea of the picture, but I'm not using the exact picture. And then down here, the rocks kind of branch out a bit. Really cool stuff though, huh? Like, I don't know where I saw this, but there's a post about how they wanted to be able to travel in a moon gate. And I was like, what's moon gate? So I looked it up, and here we are. I wanted to do something kind of landscapey today, and then I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. So this kind of seemed like a good compromise. And then there's going to be some kind of rocks, like some unevenness. I want it mostly even, but not 100. I want rough kind of texture too, right? The picture that I'm looking at, actually it's pretty smooth, but you can also very easily tell that it's rocks put together. So I just want some texture on the inside here, and I'll go in and add details and stuff later. I'm trying to increase my skill set here, so this doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to leave this part flat here, because that's where you'd be walking, right? So while that is doing its thing, I'm going to do a light wash on the bottom here, and I'm going to merge the two, right? I really probably should have mixed my paint first, because there's going to be like a, actually I have some brown here I can use. I can just wash this. Make it a wash, like very diluted in color. And going to be uneven because it's just a pathway. Right? And then take some of my really light green. I'm going to just add a little bit more paint to it. And just come in and let it meet. And this is a lot deeper green in places, so we'll just add some detail and different colors after. Just the background. I'm going to come back in. I wanted this to be a little deeper and a little bit more blended, so add some more paint, or kind of another layer of wash, and let that blend a bit. As I'm going along, I'm trying to figure out, because I haven't done this before and I don't actually know what I'm painting, so I'm trying to figure out what in which order, like, I actually need to do things, right? Yeah. So I need all of the backgrounds done, which mostly they're done. I'm still going to draw some trees in the center. But just really lightly. And my picture went away. Where's my picture? And not that many, right? So I can just actually take this same color and just add in some trees now. And this is going to be the moon gate will actually be darker, so just a few thin, kind of spindly trees in the background. And then there'll be some more kind of greenery in here too, but and all of this is going to be covered with trees and leaves, but still need to have, like, you know, an idea of trees in the background if it's a forest, right? And I'm going to actually come up from this and have more. So because there will be other things like coming around in this area. If that makes any sense. And leaves will be covering it, so create some branches for some as I said, a lot of this is going to be covered, but whatever does peek through, like, you want to have something there. So and then I'm just going to do some really thin lines. Those will be the trees that are really far away. Hey, Mitty Mitts, how are you? I'm doing pretty good today. I am going to attempt a moon gate. I've never seen one before today, so I'm giving it a shot. Not really sure how it will turn out, but we'll see. Okay, so this is still drying. This is still drying. I don't want to touch this, so I think I'll start. No, actually, I need to do. Yeah, I think I'll start with the trees in the background here. And I'm going to mix up some dark browns and go a little bit bigger. There's literally dog hair everywhere. I actually brushed her out again yesterday, and that went really dark really quickly. My palette still isn't completely dry, so I'm picking up a lot more paint than I'm expecting. And then I just had to breach the water that I put on here for my white. I want that to stay separate. Okay. Nice. Experimentation, yes. Can't learn if you don't try, right? My kid loves animated movies, which he got from me because I love animated movies. And there's this movie called, I think it's The Robinsons. And it's all about like this inventor, as a kid. And he wants to invent a time machine. Or, I'm not actually sure. But he's an inventor. But he's adopted. So he wants, oh, that's right. He's adopted, or he's in an orphanage and is going to be adopted. And he wants to create, like a time machine so he can go back to see his mother. And, find out who she is. So it's a big, long story about him and his adventures in this thing. But when he goes into the future by accident, he meets his future family, and one of their things is, "Hooray, you failed. You tried. You can't learn if you don't try." And I'm trying, that's never been my viewpoint in life. And oh, I suck at this. It's awful. I did horribly. But I'm trying for my son's sake to teach him this. So now everything is, "Hooray, you failed. You learned something. You can't learn if you don't try and fail." So that's why I say a lot now, because I'm just saying it in daily speech these days. That's super cool. Adopted. I think I grew up on this movie. Yeah. It's a really cute movie. Yeah. All right. There's going to be like a bushy tree here, which is going to take up like all of this area. So I'm not going to put any darks there. So I'm just going to kind of start here, and I'm going to make some darker branches, right? And this is a mix of transparent brown oxide and Payne's gray. And I'm just going to start to kind of give some skeletons in the back, and they're going to be like mostly kind of covered by leaves, but some things are going to poke through, and I want to have those so that they can poke through, right? And I don't know what is going to poke through, so I'm just making as many as I can so something does. Trees actually have like a ton of branches on them anyway. And anytime you see something through like the leaves, you see just a bit of branch. So I'm also adopted. I think my parents got it for that reason. Oh, I am as well. I have a stepfather who adopted me when I was younger. It's really like a super cute movie. And I mean, obviously, like, you want to teach kids, right? Not everything is always perfect, or yeah. So all right, so there's the branches for the background, and I'll put all leaves around this because this is all leaves here, and then there's like another big like corpse of trees, but you don't see branches on this side. It's just green, like it's the trees here, and you're just seeing the leaves come out. And then there's the bush here, and there's like a taller tree and then a bush here. And I think I'm going to take this brown that I had, and I'm going to start to kind of add a little bit of detail in between to make up the rocks of this. So again, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have no idea how this will come out, but I know rocks are more than one color, right? So I'm just gonna kind of in a vertical fashion, because these are rocks that are kind of standing up, I'm going to add some brown in here, just in different areas, and it doesn't have to be, just to get some color variation and a little sharpness, because you do want to see like individual rocks, not clearly, but you want to know that there's individual rocks there. So just kind of trying to go along in some of the areas where I've already kind of determined there would be. And I'll come back in with make sure that the brown comes out as well. I don't know if you can hear the roofers or not, but they're right over my head today, of course. Like a bunch of rocks kind of put together. So this can be where the path meets. So some stripes of rocks. I'm trying to go in and kind of add more like in a, it's like too even, right? So trying to break it up a little bit. So that's that. Now I think I will start with, I'm gonna mix up some greens, and I'm gonna start with the side of the tree, the forest area. But let me actually want to see what green this will make if I just mix in everything, because this is like 4 different greens together. I think it'll be brighter than I want it to be with this turquoise, but let's see what happens. Actually, that'll be fairly nice. We'll do a couple of layers of, this is more of a wash though, right? Yeah. So we can actually take this and, because this is a lot darker on this side, and we can just kind of plan out where the tree's going to be. So it comes right up into this area, and then comes up over, and then just kind of tree shaped, right? And I'm just going to wash all of this in here, because then I don't have to really worry about what comes out and what doesn't. Does that make any sense? Like, I don't have to worry about then what I can't word today. Yeah. So then at least it's a full area, right? And then this tree is going to come over. I should probably make some more branches coming out a little bit further. So I'll just take a little bit of the brown and do that. So coming from, it'll just come from here and kind of come out. Because you want the tree kind of coming over here. So right. And then I think I'm actually going to bring this one out just a little bit further this way, so it meets well, you know. There. Need to leave enough white space so that you know exactly what it is, right? So this could be drier, but I think I can get started. And I'll start with this bush here. And it's actually like some kind of flowered bush. But the flowers are white. There's some white flowers up here too on another one. Because remember, there's going to be like a purple flowering bush here, and then behind it there's, you know, like a tree here, and then there's another white flowering bush, which I think I can fake with some paint and then maybe with my gel pen. I'm trying not to be too particular, like too realistic. I'm not going for that really. So, and I need to make sure that I get everything done like in the right order, right? So I think I'm going to start with this one here, and I'm going to start with what color do I want? I think I'm going to start with a wash of sap green. Is that sap green? No, that's Cascade. Actually, that might be quite nice. A little brighter than I was looking for, but it's more like evergreeny. I'm gonna just tint it a bit. There we go. So, and then there's going to be this bush here, and it kind of comes up around in this area here, and then comes, so it's like a round bush, right? And then the lighter leaves are going to be, should really turn this around, but it's okay. This will be the bottom, so this will be the center. And I don't want it like 100% solid. Like these are a lot of trees. This is one bush, so you are going to see like stuff, you know, sticking out of it, right? You will see like branches, and actually it needs to go a little bit higher though. But I also don't want to cover too much of this, so now with the brown that I've added in the back, like the gray will blend in. I'll have to go a lot darker on the green to kind of blend them, but it's not necessarily a bad thing if you can see some of the rocks behind it as well, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. Just gonna add a little bit of whatever that is to shade this one, tone it. Put this under here. I hear the sun calling me, so there might be an interruption coming very, very soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to start mixing the greens. So I want a deeper now version of this green. And then I want to mix a little bit of this with, and incoming. 1 second.
Mama?
Yes, handsome.
Where's Papa?
Papa's down working. Mama's working right now too. You cannot sit with me today. I'm sorry. What are you doing? Did you finish Lego?
No, the almost.
Almost? Okay, then you should get going.
The one. I got one. I did open one. And no ink, no build Lego.
Well, you have to fill if you want to.
No
No
doors.
You can do it. Follow the page step by step. You know this. Do you want the tablet?
Otherwise, you're just gonna.
What?
They're gonna help me.
I cannot help you right now. I can help you when I'm done. Do you want the tablet while Mama's still working?
No thanks.
Okay, do you want to go watch TV?
No.
Okay. You cannot be in here. You cannot be with Mama right now. Papa's downstairs working. You just had a Coke.
Papa, can help.
You can ask Papa. Yeah.
Wait, Papa.
He's downstairs. He's in his office. Okay?
What?
I'll be out in a little. He's downstairs.
Watch.
There he is. Can you close the door? No, I'll close the door. Okay, he did close the door. Sorry about that. It's summertime, kids on vacation. To be expected. I was expecting it anyway. All right, and I lost my train of thought. Okay, I was mixing greens because I'm going to start adding in, this is just like a shaded version of that lighter green. And then I'm going to take pure version because this is going to be the shadows of the leaves in here, right? And really my problem is I need to keep it loose, right? And I'm not really good with loose, so I'm just gonna try. So let's just come in and try. And the green is going to be like the lighter, and it can extend out the furthest as well, right? Because if there's sun, like it's kissing these leaves, right? So just kind of filling in so it looks like leaves. This can be more dense because it's a lot of trees coming at one point. Okay. So that was my son. And do want to make sure, kind of cover like where there would be more leaves. There's like more, but some of these branches will peek through. And then I'll come in immediately after with this mix and just drop it in areas just to get some light shadow. It won't really go anywhere if the paint is dry, but and obviously be more concentrated like in this area. So that's layer one of the leaves. And can just extend a little bit. Like that. And as we go darker and darker, the branches will get less and less, and some will poke through and some won't, right? So now I can come with a step 2 over here. And these are like kind of darker evergreen. But not this dark. This is really for shadows. I can actually start adding while it's wet still in places here where there's like a very high concentration of trees coming together, right? So less and smaller as it comes out here. But more so here. All right, so now here, this is going to be, I think I'm going to start with this Cascade Green, and I think I'm just going to mix it over here so it kind of still has the same tint, shade, tone, something. And I think this will be a second layer. And it's going to have a little bit more white space in between like the marks so that you can see some of this light underneath. It's not going to be like complete wash, right? And I'm going to put it down pretty thick so it stays wet so I can add some darker parts of it. Some shadows into the leaves. Can be some more solid over here because this is where like the corpse of trees are. And smaller and lighter as we go to the outside. It's really hard for me to like look at this and not see just like little blobs of color, right? I'm too close to it, so oops. It's all right. Need to keep some space here, so because we're going to have like another tree in this area. So we can kind of make the shape of it kind of negatively painting. All right, and now I'm going to add a darker green to this. And then I'm going to drop it in like I did there, just for some shadow, more concentrated on this side and less as we get to the center, to the edge, not center. Words. Making a salad today with the words. And I'm going to have it really dark here at the bottom because it's going to meet something else, right? And that will be a different shade of green. And it'll be a good contrast if it's darker. I'm kind of starting to get in the zone, sorry. So yeah. So now I think like a lot of the detail work is going to be like with this, and I'm still going to try and keep it pretty loose. I'm really liking how this is looking. Need to add some more shadows into that, and I have to finish this bushy flowering thing here. Although I think I'm just going to skip the flowers because they're really light and I don't yeah. I also have to remember that I need to, oh, I should have done more actually in here before I did this. Oopsie. This was that order of operations thing and I failed. So I'm wondering if I should come back now. This is going to be covered. So I'm not too worried about that part, but down here in the front, maybe I should come back and do that now so that I can get some variation in there and get some greens and browns flowing. So I'm just going to wet this. I'm going to come kind of close to this bush, but not too close, right? I'm not going to overtake what I've just done. Just have to deal with it. So now that that is wet, I can just start dropping some greens. And this is like a nice bright green, and but the path is going to be a little bit more brown. And also I'm going to add some, I got some blue in my buff titanium. So I'm going to come in with some buff titanium, which is a really lovely color. And then come in with some brown and a mix of it, and because I want it to just all blend nicely. This is a path. It will be darker in the front, right? And take a blend of the brown and the buff titanium and just get it in there so it all mixes well. Yeah, the color on the screen is like really like pure, like bright brown, and it's a lot more muted for me. A lot more muted. So just looking at right. Anyway, I'm going to get some hooker's green, and I don't want it that bright. And water it down a bit. Yeah, start dropping this in various places. Be darker. Let it meet. I do want some of this like lighter to show through. I'm just softening the edges here where these two meet. And I think I'm actually gonna drop a little bit of yellow in here. Just to give like some like little flowers maybe along the path. And then I'll go in with a little bit more concentrated. There's some darkness in here. Definitely do more over here. And then I'll take some very lightly, some clean water. Just I'm going for loose, right? So I'm gonna actually leave that there. Gives a little bit of variation, right? Oh, when it spent all that, there's going to be a bush there. See, I'm an idiot. I wasn't thinking. So now the bush will have to be darker than that. Still need to work on this order of operations thing. Definitely still need to get that done. But anyway, let us see. Can't work there, so now we're going to work back here. And we used, I think, Cascade Green, right? A tint of Cascade Green here. So I think we're going to kind of stay with that, but I think we're going to blend it with a brighter green as well, because it's yeah, pure I think I'll use for like a shadow, but actually let me just pop some in over here. So I want to lighten that up, but I don't want to tint it per se. So I'm going to try and throw in some spring green and see. Yeah, I like that. So it's still the color, but it's just a little bit lighter. I don't think I've mixed enough, but I'm going to turn this too so I don't put my hand in the wet paint over there, and I'm just going to start filling in. I want to leave some light as well. The shape is kind of weird, but I think that's okay. Being a little too uniform. But it's also kind of hard painting upside down for me. I find it difficult. So I'd like more green along this kind of side, right? Because that'll be like more the center of the plant, branching out to less. And then I'll take some Cascade Green with a little bit of water and drop it in. Less as we get to the edge, more in the kind of center and the bottom. I had to take more paint, so now it's not the exact kind of mix from before, so just going over what I did down there to kind of blend them together a bit. I may have to put some of the rocks over at this point. No, we'll see. Okay, but let's get right side up. So this down here at the bottom, I'll take a little bit of the Cascade Green, and then I'm going to mix in whatever this gray is. So it kind of still has the color. And this is kind of just underneath the tree, right? Dead leaves and shadows, whatever. Okay, so I need this to dry, that to dry. This is dry, so I can come back up here. And I want to add in, like, a lot of this is really light. So now I want to add in more, green. So I'm going to go with some Hooker's Green, which is really bright. So I want to tone it a little bit, or not tone necessarily, but I'm going to adjust the color a little bit. So I think I'll see. Ooh, they're swearing. There we go. I think the boss came. The boss of the roofers. All right. So I don't want to cover up everything I've just done, but now, I'm going to get water everywhere. And put my hand in it. So I'm just going to come in like little, like, sections, right? And it's going to be far less than it was before, because I didn't make all of this like beautiful work just to cover it up. I had a drop of water up there too, so just add some paint into it. And still have to keep it loose, right? Which means I can't overthink it. And since that's like an Olympic sport for me, I need to constantly remember to pull back. I want it to make sense though too, right? What are you thinking so far? How's it going? All right, I'm gonna force myself. Just gonna add a little bit, a couple of dots here, right? But I'm going to force myself to stop. Okay. Let that dry and then see if we go with another layer. I think we should, just a little bit darker. Really want to show shadows, right? So now I think we'll come back into the in the center a bit. So I'll switch brushes so it's not as big. And what color is this again? It's a wash. All right, this is indigo. So I'm going to add a little bit more and make that just a tad darker. Might have gone too far, but no. It looks so dark though, right? It looks black. So now just going to throw in some color. I don't want to cover everything, and I want various shades of things, right? I don't want just this gray, and I want some of this light gray to pop through as well. But it also has to be kind of random. And like some will be thicker, thinner. This one isn't completely dry, I can feel it. So I think that's good. Do some of these a little bit darker than I would like. I'm not going for final like dark level, so just picking up some extra paint. And then I also want, I think I'm going to go back into this like lunar blue as well. And because it's actually a pretty nice, it's a blue, but here it would be gray, right? And I think it would add good variation. So it's like the same color, but not the tint of it, or I should really learn these words so I can tell you what I'm talking about. It's just a different shade, right? So it'll look the same, but not, which is what I would like. Of course, when it's dry, you don't know. And then I also want like a black or gray, or like, what is this going to be? That's going to be like more blue gray, but obviously very deep. Why not? Right? Probably more so at the bottom because, you know, I did have a rest of that thought, but I lost it. Sorry. Adds a little bit of color variation, right? And I still want to leave some of that light showing, but now I want it to be a little bit more a darker version of that same color, which is what I think I used the lunar blue for. So I think I have not activated this one, but I think I'm going to pull in some. Now my dog is barking. Sorry if you can hear that. All right, so this is Blue Appetit, but I think I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the grayer Payne's Gray. I'm looking for gray rocks, right? But I also want brown. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I'll add just a touch of the buff titanium. Yeah. I want to leave some of the light gray through, but I also I want it to be more cohesive, right? And that could just be me thinking like, oh, well, that's your background color. So of course, as I said, I'm too close and I can't really see. So there is still some light, but it's also, I think, a little bit more cohesive. Yeah. I actually think I want to tone down the browns a little bit, but because I'm thinking that, I'm not going to do it. So now I'm going to work on, no, I'm going to dry this first. 1 second. I'm going to make this bush a little bit smaller so that I don't actually lose, what I've made. So, sorry, dog barking. I just realized I have another green that I can use for shadows on these two, and I think it'll look really nice. It's the new green that I'm not used to grabbing. So this one I want to be a little bit brighter, right? But not super bright. What did I do over here? Yeah. I think this was a mix of the hooker's green and the spring green. And I think this will be kind of perfect. So I'm just going to, it's just going to be a little bush. I'm kind of, I'm still going to put a tree here, but I'm kind of moving things in because I don't want to lose what I had put in there, right? And more green at the bottom. But I'm kind of come in now. Oh, that's really concentrated paint. And I don't want it that concentrated. Or do I? Maybe. Maybe I do. Because I really want these flowers to kind of stand out. And they're going to be more, there's going to be some inside, right? Not some, but there's going to be a lot more towards the outside. And I'm trying to be loose. So if I add it in while it's still wet, it will spread out, and then I can kind of go back in after and maybe detail some things. But mostly on flowering bushes, you see all the flowers on the outside, right? So I actually did want it that concentrated. See me! I think the roofers have their dogs outside. That's what I think. So this was the cobalt violet, and this is going to be like the bottom, kind of like the lighter shade, right, of the flower. So I think I have something right here that's kind of like purple pinky. That's more red. So I think I'm going to come in here and then just drop some of this in. I think I'm going to leave that as it is. Can't say I'm a huge fan, but I don't know. It is what it's going to be, what it is. That's all. All right, so now I'm going to try, this is like a, kind of like a young, I don't know what it is. It's going to take up this area though. And it is going to, it's going to also be a mix of greens. And it's going to be, this is like a hooker green, right? Yep. But I toned that, like, so it was a little bit brighter, I think. But what I want to do with this one is kind of go more towards like a, that's still brighter than I want. So No. That's really good for shadow. I'm really sorry if you can hear that. Really sorry. Yeah. I think I'll mute just for a little bit, okay? Just while they're using whatever grind. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to mute for a little bit, but I'm still here. Write in chat if you have a question. Okay. I think I think they're done with that, whatever that was. So I will mute again if it comes back. So I liked the color that I mixed, but then I noticed that I lost the contrast, and I was planning on going lighter with this tree. So now when I come back in over here, I'm gonna have to really make sure that I add a lot of dark to kind of surround that, a lot of shadow, so that it pushes it forward. And this might be a good color. Gonna do some negative painting so some of it pops through, right? This is far also too thick. I don't. But it's fine that it's darker there. There's not going to be any more paint in this area right here. So I guess I'll just continue with the shadow, kind of going up, and most of it is going to be again on this side, because this is where like all the trees are. And I hope I remember what I put in here because I'm gonna need more. I might get away with just what I have. Because the deep shadows are not going to be everywhere, right? Very little there, just more in the center. And kind of sporadic, right? So and more down here, concentrated, because then this can kind of peek through. But I think I might actually try and kind of glaze this with like a lighter green as well when it comes time to it, just to see if I can pop it forward a little bit, or maybe I'll tint. Maybe I can just add a little bit of white. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to use it again. So, talking to myself here. So, nope. Nope, nope, nobody, nope. Maybe a little bit more white. Maybe a lot of white. Maybe a bit of water. No. I'm pretty sure this is a no, but let me just can try. See if it just adds on the edges there something. Keeping it green, but giving kind of a highlight-ish. What do we think? I'm not so sure. I'm not 100% on that. I'm going to let it dry though and see what happens. All right. So I will add some shadows in here. I'm not really doing anything more with the background. That's going to stay the way it is. I do need to add some shadow in here. I've done shadow there. I wanted to do a little bit more over there too. Starting to think that maybe, yeah, I'm really not happy with that. But I'm going to let it dry and see. And I'm just going to take away all the evidence. Put it in the trash. No, leave it. Okay. So, right. Done shadow there. That's pretty much done. I think I'll add just a little bit more of shadow in that one. And it's not, I'm going to add some water, so. So I will just sporadically try not to put my, maybe you can add some, no. Yeah. I'm going to try not to put my hand in the wet paint, and where I've gone in with this kind of brighter green, I'm going to just add some bunches of shadow, and it will dry a little bit lighter because it's not a complete it's more wash like than solid. It's more water than paint. So I just kind of want chunks of it, right? Just to add a little bit of contrast. Can even come out here because I'm just concentrating on this like area where I've had that darker green. I will come out a little bit, but for the majority it'll be in the same area that dark green is. And I'm calling that done. There's a lot of green. I hope there's a lot of variation of green. You can see that this one didn't kind of come out as far as I would like, but really good shadow green, right? So, oh, I did try and put it over there and just pop that away. I think that's more over here, and everything is wet there and there, so I'm going to try and just be really, yeah. I'm going in the wrong directions because I'm upside down, so I have to go more this way, right? Yes. More kind of up than down. Up, not down. Up, up. Up, not down. Up, not down. Up. Or maybe down for me. Down, down for me. Can't really see what the hell I'm doing. All right. To me, that just looks like a bunch of strokes. So I'm gonna kind of solidify them a little bit by making more of a kind of like a stem-ish. So these strokes are coming off of something, right? This is like scraping the bottom of the thing, so it's actually a lighter value. So it's kind of like a good transition color between them. It's not as dark as what was there originally, so I think it's like a good color to kind of blend, you know, the trees versus the the tree versus the rock. Yeah. Okay, so I do not do well with loose. Obviously, I cannot do loose. I'm also not going for realistic, but I don't know, is this loose? I don't think so. I don't really think so. So now I'm going to try and come back in and work down here. And I'm going to take some burnt umber, put it over here. And I'm going to add just going to add some kind of like sharpish kind of detail along the edges here. Not to just to kind of give like movement and, you know, better define like where the edges are versus the grass, you know. So I have a feeling I'm gonna kind of mess this up, but I'm trying not to. Kind of very similar to like when you're making waves, you know, or working with water. I thought everything was getting a little too small. So there's very little paint on my brush, so I'm just kind of taking advantage of that and dry brushing some more in the center. And then come back and fix this because I didn't like what that looked like. See if I can get to that kind of dry brush way again. I'm just going to add some kind of like spots and for rocks and pebbles, that kind of thing. It is dirt. There we go. I'm going to take a little bit of the gray, not too much. I'm going to add a lighter version of that. Add some variation in the color of like rocks. Actually look more blue. than gray, but all right, that's that. So now I'm going to go into, this is done. I'm not going to do anything more. I'm leaving that as it is. I don't know about this thing. I'll figure that one out later. That's done. That's done. So now it's really just the just this rock thing. And what I'm going to do is just very light. I say that and you laugh. I know. I'm just going to add some shadows in the rocks in some places. So it's not so consistent, you know? But I mean, I'm really, really light. Very thin. I think I'll do that in this like indigo color and then also in the brown. Trying not to put my hand in wet things. This is because I want you to see that there's like multiple rocks, right? Nothing in nature is like just flat. So, but I also don't want to overwork it, which if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know I'm actually pretty good at. It's kind of a talent of mine. So I'm trying to be very sporadic and then still loose, and although I'm pretty sure we can throw loose out the window, right? Maybe I should find out exactly what loose is. Not like, you know. I don't know. Maybe this compared to realistic is loose. I do not know. What are we thinking? Hmm? What color is this? Okay. I think we're just gonna add little things of grass here, there, everywhere. Just going to, this kind of seemed really bare, and I probably should have brought some more brown out, but yeah, I didn't. So I'm just kind of gonna give some definition and just to fill it up. Now I think I've overdone it, but can't really stop now. What are we thinking? I think I need some like small rocks or something along the side here. Smaller as they get farther away. Drop some gray in there too. I build up the path on the side so it's more rocky, I guess. It is filling in quite nicely. To me it's a little off balance though because there isn't any over there, and I could try and add a couple, of course, but it's also a little too symmetrical. Chaos. Nature loves chaos. Now, what are we thinking? What do we think? I think I'm done. I don't think there's anything more that I want to add to that. I'm still not I'm being quiet to see if I can, when they're hammering, if it's being picked up on the mic. So of course they stopped hammering, right? So what do we think? Oh, it is. It is getting picked up on the night on the mic. Just it seems like it's kind of light though, so I hope that's true. I don't know. Let's take the tape off and see what happens. I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I think I need to step away. I can't tell if here's the thing, like I'm too close to it. So I just see all the strokes that I've made, right? I don't yet see trees. I don't yet see the things that they're supposed to be. I still see lines. So I need to walk away from it. But if I squint at it, which is one of the things that they tell you to do, I'm actually not too displeased with it. So I think I like it. Not 100% sure yet, but come on. But I think I do. Oh, incoming. Yeah. Hi, buddy.
Big store got that one.
They don't have that one.
Big store.
No, they don't have it at the big store. I'm sorry.
Big store.
Buddy, I'm almost done. So if you can go wait for me in the kitchen, please. The big store doesn't have it. If you can go wait in the kitchen, I'll be right out in a little bit. Can you shut the door, please?
See me stay here?
See me can stay, yes. Thank you. I'm actually a little impressed. I was expecting a lot more interruptions, to be honest. But that's my child. All right. Oops. And here we are. Let's move some of this stuff around. What do we think? The background seems kind of misty-like. I really like the small, the really light lines that I put in there. I think that those look really good. I don't know if these should have had more definition or should have been lighter, but there is a combination, so I think it's okay. I do like the tree overhanging. I do like that you can see some of the branches peeking through, which was the whole purpose of doing that. I'm not so keen on the shape of this, but even in the picture, it's just a bunch of trees taking up the space. This one I gave up on, really. Kind of looks like a Christmas tree. And I did not get the contrast I wanted. I could maybe, let's play a little, just a tiny bit, right? What if I glaze it with this really light green? What would happen then? Would it just disappear? I mean, you can't really put lighter on top of darker. Or would it just change the tone a little bit? I won't know until it's dry, but that does kind of add a brightness to it that the tint of the same color did not accomplish. Am I ruining it or bettering it? Hard to say. Won't really know until it's fully dry either, because it might just evaporate completely in, but I think that, like, the tonal change will still be there, just lighter. I don't know, but now it's done, so we'll wait for it to dry, see what happens. But I think I'm going to call it a day there, because I do need to go do something with my son. I don't know what he's talking about. Probably help with Lego. And so thanks for joining me for my attempt at the Moongate landscape. I really do recommend Googling Moongate and then just looking at the images. They're actually really cool, and they're just so many variations. I just picked one that I thought I had a chance of painting, so I picked one that I had a shot maybe at making my version of it. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day there. I will be back, I think, on Friday. That's the plan. If anything changes, I'll cancel it, or I'd say I'd tweet it, but I don't really do that. So, yeah. You'll either see me or you won't on Friday. So, have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.